diversity and also a global environment, I think is just tremendous, and it's very hard to measure, but I think everybody can recognize that being a global company certainly offers a lot of competitive advantages and helps you make you a stronger company through different downturns. This recent recession that we've faced for Cummins has had a lot less of an impact financially because they are globally diversified now. So markets in China, India, Brazil have been able to prop up, so to speak, the North American market through this downturn. So there's a tremendous competitive advantage to being a global company. From a diversity perspective, the ability to tap into knowledge and backgrounds for problem solving, for new product design, is just, very key. I think it speeds up the problem solving method. It also, like I mentioned, provides a more analytical approach and more of a disciplined approach to solving problems by tapping into those resources than what you could have had if you were more isolated. The other competitive advantage that I've experienced, and this was prior to Cummins, is just the competitive advantage of the time difference. The ability to work around the clock, because you have offices now, around the world, is a significant advantage, and which means you need some flexibility there, because now the people in North America who have to work on a global basis now have to be more accommodating from a time perspective. So that means earlier morning conference calls or later in the evening conference calls to handle the time difference. Some of the issues that have been brought forth by diversity that as a team leader or a manager you have to identify and navigate through or face is the different backgrounds. You will have more conflicting ideas. You do tend to have more conflicts associated with people who think differently and have different backgrounds. You will have to learn some negotiating skills, some give and take, some compromise to really make sure that everybody on the team feels like they're providing input and their input is being listened to. You really become more of an arbitrator at that point as a team leader. In those situations, you're going to have to learn to manage and deal with conflict. The other thing that you need to recognize is because of people's different backgrounds and different personalities, is you need to learn how to not only encourage people to offer up their ideas, so it's more of a coaching and drawing out ideas of people who may not be comfortable with participating, but also you need to learn how to suppress those who tend to dominate situations. When we talk about gender diversity or ethnic diversity, you have to realize that there may be some barriers that people have, some, I'll call it, seated emotions around the participation of other people with a diverse background. You need to be able to kind of head those off and educate those people so that those don't get in the way of getting the job done. My career has been 13 years since I graduated from college, and a lot of things have changed just in those 13 years. I'm not going to say that I'm a veteran yet, but I've been around the block a few times and I've had a lot of experience. So what I've seen that has changed since I graduated from college in the workplace is an embracing by companies and managers of diversity. As we've seen kind of a more old school managers retire, the younger, newer school managers really have embraced diversity and understand that is how you compete in a global environment. They have a very good understanding that if they want to compete and sustain a competitive advantage, they're going to have to embrace diversity and be able to tap into the benefits that it provides. With that being said, I see a lot more training in the workplace. than when I first graduated from college. There really was not only was there not any speaking of diversity, but there was no training offered. Now we see a lot more, acceptance of others training. We see a lot more, benefits of diversity training. I mentioned, cultural classes that are made available now, not only in the workplace, but also in the local, education environment that has really changed over the last decade to better assist with, getting diversity out there and understanding the benefits and really assisting managers to tap into the benefits of a diverse and global environment. Some of the things that Cummins does that encourages diversity and really, in my opinion, is probably one of the leaders in the world in terms of encouraging diversity, are there affinity groups. We have affinity groups for, we have a women's affinity group, different cultural backgrounds, that allow people to feel more, accepted in the community. One of the things that's difficult when I've traveled abroad is that you definitely feel foreign when you're abroad, and it's really nice to find a place where you feel comfortable and can fit in. People speak your language, and these affinity groups allow people who are, from abroad to feel comfortable. It gives them a break outside of work, that they can meet people, they can network and establish and develop friendships. That makes them feel more a part of the community, and I think it is a big part of their retention plan. Certainly, the training that Cummins puts into new hires. When I first hired in, like I mentioned, there was acceptance, and treatment of others training, and there was diversity training that's mandatory for all new hires to really get a better understanding of the benefits of diversity, why it's a core value, to Cummins, and why it's important. And that really just helps establish the culture, the corporate culture, and makes it a lot easier to overcome those barriers that I talked about when establishing a team or as a manager of a team. Everybody in the room understands, the benefits, and so it can help break down a lot of those barriers, right from the beginning of someone's employment at Cummins.